Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and today's episode is going to be the second episode that I'm using to address uh, the big question: is fan subbing affecting the anime industry positively or negatively? Okay, and it's basically a big conundrum episode. Uh, as a fan subber, the everyone would like to know what my point of view on the topic is, and I'm going to give you I'm going to break it down and give you a little bit of background because my answer is probably not one that you would expect me to give, and it's also one that's a little bit not one way or the other. Okay, and I'm gonna kind of go over how I arrived at my answer. Okay. So, in like the previous episode, I went over the past, how fan subbing in the beginning, has affected the market and how the companies view us as fan subbers. Okay, in today's episode, I'm going to go over how the middle part, shall we say, the rise of popularity of anime, and how then fan subbing has changed, and how the company's view or the effect on the anime industry has changed. Okay, in the beginning, there was only just a few, people that were doing fan subbing because again, the equipment is rather expensive. The source material of the anime was not plentiful. A lot of people had to be able to spend money to buy laser discs and stuff from Japan, get them over here in North America, and then we can actually start working on the fan subs for that, right? Again, that's what we had to do in the early days of like Orange Road, Maison Ikkaku, Pat Labor, Miracle Girls, Himi-chan's Ribbon. These are all titles that we had to go out and get the laser discs for. And again, there are probably very, very few copies of the laser discs of Orange Road in North America. But again, we were buying these from Japan. These are sales that the Japanese people weren't expecting North Americans to buy, but we were paying for them, and they were adding to their sales totals in a little way, which helps them make or break even, right? Okay. As a result of all this fan subbing that we did, more and more titles were getting licensed. More and more fan subbers were getting into this because they realized, hey, this is a kind of a cool thing. I see a lot of fan subs out there, but maybe not of titles that we are interested. So maybe we should get into fan subbing and fan sub some titles that maybe we like. Okay. So again, anime is now growing. It's getting more and more popular. There's more fan subbers. More commercial companies are kind of getting on the bandwagon. We started with the initial Anime Ego and AD Vision. Pioneer decided to make their own vision again and put and start releasing their titles there. Viz, of course, Viz Video, they started to do their titles. They got some other smaller companies releasing some odder titles. Some of the not sort of off beat a little bit titles. Tokyo Pop, for example, Media Blasters, US Manga Corps, things like this, all releasing different anime. So all of a sudden, we were getting a lot of anime coming in. Okay, more and more titles, more and more choices, right? It's all good, right? It's very, very good. It basically assesses that we're no longer in a sort of cult status. Now we're getting into more. We're not just a fad. Okay, we're actually becoming a legitimate genre. Okay, we're actually getting, numbers in some of our groups. Over 100. We're able to start doing things like anime conventions by themselves. We were actually getting attendance and fan interest numbers large enough to support this kind of thing. So again, the anime industry is growing. Okay, products that we are interested in are becoming more and more available. Okay, used to be that we would go into a video store, we'd hardly see any anime. We'd have to go to like a comic store to get our anime. But all of a sudden now, major retailers like and video stores were actually carrying anime. They'd have a section for anime. You'd go into like a Future Shop or a Best Buy, and you would see anime on the shelves. You know, you could see this kind of stuff, growing. Information was being able to be transferred, and ideas, suggestions of what kind of animes are out there. The news cycle was being reduced, so that people knew more about anime in general, okay, as well as being able to get information about the anime much easier. At this time, still video was still a bit of an issue because the internet wasn't quite fast enough or big enough to transfer whole video files and good quality type files around. But it gave you enough ideas, it gave you enough pictures that you could still get an idea of what these shows are. In this era, sales of things like VHS tapes and DVDs really skyrocket. They really helped these companies. Again, U.S. renditions, where they were only expecting to sell maybe 5,000, videotapes of Dangayo, all of a sudden, jumped. Okay. To like people like Pioneer slash Bandai, they're releasing DVDs that were selling 10,000 copies of DVDs per DVD, right? Especially a lot of their really popular titles like Gundam, Tenshin Muyo, things like this, things like those type of shows, Alizard even, were all selling lots of units per disc, shall we say? Okay, but each disc was selling lots of units. Okay, so again, it is an indication that there was some popularity and this ability for the companies to make money, selling merchandise for their products. Okay, so what I wanted to really emphasize is that things are going very well for the anime. It seems that there's more and more titles being released, and the reason why this sort of cycle begins is that when the anime companies in Japan are planning to do a particular title, let's say I'm going to do Devil Hunter Yoko, okay, for example, and they figure, okay, we're gonna make this thing called Devil Hunter Yoko, and we expect to sell. And again, these are not factual numbers. I'm just going to use them for illustration purposes. But I mean, there's a little bit of fact to the numbers. Okay, so but I'm going to leave them loose. All right. So let's just say that, okay, we're expected to sell, let's say, 10,000 units of Devil Hunter Yoko. So between the VHS tapes and the laser discs and stuff. They expect to sell 10,000 copies of Devil Hunter Yoko in Japan. Okay, that was their idea, and they figure, okay, it's $1 million to make this OVA. If we sell 10,000 copies, do the math or whatever, we could charge 6,000 yen per disc or tape, and then we're going to probably make a soundtrack. We'll sell each soundtrack for we're expecting to sell, let's say 8,000 copies of the CD. We'll price it at 3,000 yen. Okay, and then we'll make a video game for Devil Hunter Yoko. We'll sell, so many posters. We'll sell Shinjiki, and all this other stuff. Okay, all in all, with this stuff all kind of added together, they figure, okay, we will be able to pay all our artists. We'll pay all the production work. We'll pay our distribution. We'll pay all the advertisements in like New Type magazine and Animedia and all that kind of stuff. And we should come out breaking even, and making some money if we do these totals, 10,000 units here. We sell this many video games. We sell this many posters. Okay, if we do all that, we'll make this much money. And something like Double Under Yolko, okay, sure, maybe it came close. It probably, it didn't seem to me that there was lots of release numbers, so that means they didn't re-release it. Like they didn't sell all the first release, and so they didn't go and reprint it again, and make a second release. So let's say they came close. They sold maybe 8,000 units, and they figured, okay, well, maybe we didn't quite make enough money on that, and we'll just sell some residuals, and then maybe in the future we'll catch up. Okay, maybe make a repress, or something. Then along comes ADV, and they go, hey, we'll pay you $500,000 for the licenses for Double Hundred Yoko. And then of course these Japanese people are going, why in the hell are these English speaking, these guys from North America, want to give us money for a Japanese anime, Japanese program in Japanese. There's no English. It's just they like you guys want to give us, let's say $500,000 for the rights to Double Under Yoko. Where's the paper? Here you go. Sign right here. Yeah, just don't bother reading the rest of this crap. Just sign right here and put your check on the table. Okay, right there you go. They were probably extremely happy with this, because here is a title that for their eyes probably didn't really quite make the money that they expected. It wasn't the big bang buster they thought. And they made some. They made pretty close to all their money back. They were maybe a little short by a little bit. And all of a sudden, these guys out of nowhere come out and slap some money on the table and say, hey, we want licensing fee for this thing so that we can release it in North America. And they're going, really? Sure. Oh, here you go. Yeah, here you go. No problem. Yeah, sure. They came out with profit. They got no profit. They got they got money that they didn't expect to come. It was like money falling from heaven, okay? And all of a sudden, these guys have got money. They've got, they churned a profit. They didn't do anything. They weren't expecting this stuff to happen, but it did. So all of a sudden, these guys going, well, now that we got all this money, what happens if we made a Devil Hunter Yoko 2? Make a sequel, right? Make more. Maybe the Americans will come and ask us for those episodes too, and maybe they'll pay us $500,000 to make those. So they go and make a sequel. They do up the kind of stuff. They still do the same kind of calculations. They go, okay, yeah, if we sell 8,000 copies or whatever, and that kind of stuff, and blah blah blah, and we make a soundtrack. Well, maybe this time we won't make a video game for Double Under Yoko, but maybe we'll make bed pillows or something. I don't know. But so they do their calculations to make a second OVA for that. Again, I would probably hazard a guess that it probably didn't do all that well either, because Double Under Yoko 2 pretty well sucked as compared to Double Under Yoko 1. But sure enough, if AD Vision comes along and goes, hey, yeah, I see you released a sequel for Double Under Yoko 2. Yeah, we'll give you Well, we give you like another, couple of hundreds of thousands of dollars for that one too. And of course, the Japanese company going, they bought it. Holy crap! Yep, yeah, sign right here. Yeah, just don't worry about the text here. Just there you go. Just sign right there. Put your money on the table. Thank you very much. And so I'm sure this is happening for a lot of titles, especially all these smaller companies that had titles put out that they weren't expecting. Ideally speaking, they're hoping to break even, make some money, whatever. But all of a sudden, this windfall of money comes in from licensing, right? Licensing in a market that they weren't expecting a market to come from. Like, why would some losers in North America want, this Japanese stuff that's not in their language? It's a lot of people think, well, yeah, it's all those weird otakus that love this stuff. Why would normal people in North America want this stuff, right? But all of a sudden, this anime craze is starting to take off. All these anime fans like you and me are taking this Japanese animation, which we think is really cool and really neat. It's just again this Japanese language barrier got in the way. So here all of a sudden, all these fan subs are making headroutes across our fans. We're in better communication with each other using this internet, we're setting up our own distribution networks. We're setting up these fan clubs. We're setting up these anime conventions and all this stuff. All these companies all of a sudden going, hey, this anime thing is taking off. Let's start trying to figure out what other things that we can get to feed this anime craze, to make money off this anime craze. And so here we are. We're grabbing titles left and right. Basically, getting all the titles that have potential to make money, even going all the way back to as far as we can reasonably go back to pull from titles. So that's why things like the Dirty Pair and things like that, Project Echo, and titles like that start getting pulled out because they realize, hey, we can actually start making money on these animes, right? Even though they're not current, but still this anime, people want anime, okay? And then all of a sudden these Japanese companies realize that, hey, all this money's coming in, why don't we make some more animes, some more OVAs or shorter things or whatever of different titles and different things and different genres, because we can now. We have the money. And if we're lucky, maybe these American companies will pick them up. I'm not saying that there's every one of these companies were doing that, but when something's kind of hot and people are on the bandwagon, all of a sudden there's extra money available to take the risk on certain types of titles, then more animes and more things can come out, and with less risk. Okay, they've realized that, hey, even if this show or this idea called 5-Star Stories doesn't work out, hey, maybe we would give this a shot, we'll try to push or promote this movie called the 5-Star Stories, okay, and yeah, you'd be lucky if some North American company says, hey, yeah, this is a good concept, lots of mechs and that stuff. Sure, well, we'll buy the rights for that, and then of course the Japanese guys are going, oh, yeah, cool, right on, thank you, or not. In which case, then it's one of those titles that didn't make its mark, and then it has to, of course, spend more time trying to release more manga, release other things like art books and that kind of stuff, and try to hopefully break even using the licensing of those things. And not saying that 5-Star Stories wasn't a good movie; it was actually very good. But again, just to use that example, sometimes it just takes longer for a title like that to make its mark. And that's basically what I wanted to... with the rise in popularity of anime, we're getting more and more anime fans. More and more anime fans are buying things that are anime related. They're buying the DVDs, they're buying posters, they're buying soundtracks. And again, because a lot of these things aren't quite available in North America, for example, a lot of things like soundtracks, for example, are being bought from the Japanese. For example, Pat Labor. Our third series that we subtitle is Pat Labor, and again, we bought the Pat Labor Laserdiscs shortly after. The title did get picked up commercially and was released in movie, then TV series, then movies. But they finally was released. But a lot of people did enjoy the Pat Labor music, whether that be Condition Green or or a lot of the BGMs from the movies and that kind of stuff. Or even, for example, the Shaft song, which is really kind of a cult classic. A lot of these people wanted the soundtrack, and the only way to get the soundtrack was to basically you had to buy the import version, buy a Japanese version, or again at this time a lot of these secondary Asian versions are available. So people had to go and get those ones. So again, they were selling and making money on from sales that they weren't expecting to get from. Okay, you say they planned to sell, let's say, 10,000 copies of Pat Labor, the TV series CD, and all of a sudden, they got more requests than they thought they were going to get, and all of a sudden, they had to make a second pressing, And if you keep following the lineage in the CD catalog, they actually had to make multiple pressings of certain patlabor CDs because again, the first run that they made, they sold out a lot of them, and then they had enough requests to make a second pressing, and then a third pressing. So again, this is one of those ones, one of those good stories where again. The show happened to be so popular that all these extra CDs and sales, went the way of went the way of the manufacturer. Again, to show that hey, this show called Patlabor is really popular, and at least the music anyway, definitely did show that hey, we need more copies of this. Of the CD to go out, so they end up making multiple pressings of that to fill that niche. Okay, so sounds really good, right? How could Fansubs be hurting the market now, right? I mean, here we are, more and more anime fans. They're buying lots of things. All these anime companies are popping up. Even as I point out in a previous episode, even non-anime companies like DC Comics and Marvel Comics, they're making anime spin-offs to sell anime-ish comics and all these independent companies, Antarctic Press, and these comic companies are all popping out of nowhere. And hell, even porn companies like Hustler are picking up hentai titles and releasing them, and they're using porn actresses as voice actors in hentai shows. I mean, again, anime's really gotten big. It's hitting main culture. We're getting anime on TV now, right? You got your Dragon Ball, like literally like a lot of Dragon Ball. I mean, as I said, not just Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball Z and GT. All the various different Dragon Balls were all released. Sailor Moon, we saw a lot of Sailor Moon episodes, and then they went on to Inuyasha, which is that was probably one of the closest, probably closest near simultaneous release as we could get for like a TV type of release, where the episodes weren't that far behind from the Japanese to seeing them on English, give or take a little bit, but I mean still within reason. We had it really good, and then even some of the classic Sunrise titles like Gundam Wing and Gundam Seed, we were able to get on TV so that people could watch this stuff just by flipping on their set, and there we go, you got it. Now, I'm going to comment that this is maybe where this sort of entitlement, this sort of we grew up with anime, so we should have anime kind of attitude come in. Because you remember when I've said in episode 1, when we first started, the anime fan, when we first started, we're all, shall we say, collectors. We had to pay for our media. We had to work hard and pay and use money and spend resources and time to actually acquire the anime. We had to go out and either buy the anime, we had to order the anime, we had to do different things in order to even just to get anime to put onto our screens to watch. Okay, even with this rising of anime, that's again, all these new anime fans that come in, they were buying DVDs. They're because that's the way that they distribute the anime. Even in an earlier case, some people bought laser discs. Tenchi Muyo, Al-Azard, they all came on laser discs. Urusha Yatsura, Orange Road, all came on laser discs. Vampire Princess Mew, for example, laser discs were available. Okay, before they released them on DVD, but still, anime fans were buying these things. So obviously, it made sense for the commercial companies to say, "Hey, enough fans were interested in purchasing this stuff that we're going to make or mint or put a run out of this type of thing." Again, there was no Twitter to make a poll to see how many people would buy it. Okay, there are no things like fundme.com or something stupid like that to see, well, if we release the laser discs for Orange Road, would you buy it? Yes, check. Or if you put your $5 in, we will send you the first Orange Road laser disc or whatever with a sticker of Orange Road or something stupid like that. Okay, they don't have any of that at that time. Okay, it was just that, hey, we seem to get lots of requests. We seem to get some emails here and there and some fan letters. We went to some conventions and asked the fans at the conventions, hey, if we released Orange Road on Laserdisc, would you be interested? And then a lot of people would say, yeah, sure, that sounds a good idea, better than the stupid video cassettes. And and they'd say, "Oh yeah, would it contain like English dub and English sub and all this other stuff?" And they were like, "Yeah, whatever." And then they finally decided, "Okay, yeah, I think we can make 10,000 copies of the Orange Road Laserdisc. Yeah, let's do it." And sure enough, they did that, and they probably sold lots copies of that. Okay, and obviously enough that they now released it on DVD, and who knows, maybe released it on Blu-ray as well too, right? Okay, but what I want to make sure point out is that at this time, anime fans were still supporting the companies, partially in part, but the fact that the technology had still required that they basically had to go out and get the media. They had to still get the anime, which meant you were paying money to support these anime companies. And again, as a fan subber, we would, you could stop distributing the anime, and then of course the anime fans would go out and get the company's copy. And besides, also the copy that the anime company would be putting out would be better quality than what you would be putting out, because again, it was difficult, if not impossible, to make digital versions or digital, quality versions of your fan subs. At this time, because again, we had to record everything onto VHS tapes. Okay, you couldn't record anything digitally right now at this time, or streamable right now. So again, the best quality you could get would be from these commercial companies when they release the Laserdisc or DVD of the particular video. Okay, so again, there was this really good relationship between the fans and the companies. We were supporting the companies by by helping them and by purchasing their DVDs and helping them, if they targeted, for example, 10,000 people or 10,000 units of Tenchi Muyo to be sold, then there would be 10,000 people buying Tenchi Muyo DVDs or Laserdiscs. Okay, and that's what helped the industry grow at this time, because these companies were meeting their sales goals. They were making money. They realized that, hey, these titles are popular. They made money. They were able to take some of that money and get more titles and try to release those and do the same thing for them as well. But there had to be a limit, and you couldn't keep keeping more people jumping onto the bandwagon, more and more titles being released to a point of oversaturation. Okay, there were so many choices for the anime fan to get anime. I mean, you had anime on TV. You could see anime on the shelves at Walmart and Best Buy, Future Shop, Suncoast Video, Rogers Video, A&A Records. All the stuff, Tower Records, they all had anime, and there was a wealth of titles to pick from and to choose from. So what went wrong? Well, I will get into that in my next episode. So what you want to do is you want to click subscribe, click like, and then when that episode comes out, then you'll be notified, and then you will get your answer, because we had it so good. And now we don't. Why is that? Well, that will be in the next episode, where we talk about how we went from the anime boom to an anime crash. And the casualties are still out there, and this is the bleakness that everyone refers to as, has fansubbing caused this crash? What has happened when we had so much, and then all of a sudden now we're in this situation where there's literally so little? But the strange part is, we probably have as many anime fans as we had, if not more anime fans than we've ever had. So where's the problem? And I'll address that in my next episode, okay? So, until next time, see you again.